بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. We will start with the recitation of the surah. So I'm going to start and you repeat after me inshallah. Okay? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
قل أعوذ برب الناس.
قل أعوذ برب الناس.
ملك الناس.
ملك الناس.
إله الناس.
إله الناس.
من شر الوسواس الخناس.
من شر الوسواس الخناس.
الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس.
الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس.
من الجنة والناس.
من الجنة والناس.
Bismillah. So we'll start with the tafsir of this surah, which is the third of the three surahs that we talked about over the last month. What we call them al-mu'awwidhat. Why would we call them al-mu'awwidhat? Because they start with a'udhu, قل أعوذ برب الفلق, قل أعوذ برب الناس, and so on. So there is ta'weed. What's ta'weed? Ta'weedha is seeking refuge to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How do you do that? By saying what? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. That's what التعوذ. What التعوذ means is أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Quran is all of it is revealed to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But in some instances, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala adds the word قل. But it's all قل يا Muhammad. Say يا Muhammad to people أعوذ برب الناس. So when you see the word قل, it immediately should alert you to attention. Pay attention. قل. قل يا Muhammad to the people, to all mankind, to the mu'mineen. قل أعوذ برب الناس. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in 3 consecutive ayahs in this surah, He said, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. What is the Rabb al-Nas? Is the Lord of all mankind. So it's not just the Lord of the mu'mineen, and this is not a message for just the mu'mineen or the believers. It's a message for everyone. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Lord of all mankind. And in the second ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ إِلَهِ النَّاسِ. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ إِلَهِ النَّاسِ. So there's 3 consecutive ayahs that it's a progressive description of how people are connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The first one is Rabbin Nas, which is Allah is the Lord of all mankind. And the second one is Malikin Nas. He is the creator, or the owner, or have the ownership or the ruling over all mankind. And then the third one is what? Ilahin Nas. Now what is the description of Ilah? Is God. So what are you supposed to do for God? Is worship Him. So it's a progression. You go from Rabbin Nas, Malikin Nas, Ilahin Nas. So this is the ultimate submission to the Ilah, the God. And what you're supposed to do for the God is worship Him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us to make ta'weed by Him, seeking the refuge to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is Rabbin Nas, Malikin Nas, Ilahin Nas, the God of all mankind. 3 ayahs, 3 descriptions of the ultimate superiority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over the mankind. For what? What comes after that? Min sharri al-waswas al-khannas. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us 3 superiority of Him subhanahu wa ta'ala to tell us about this bad waswas, which is the evil that happens or that comes to people. And this is the fight between the believers and non-believers, and between us and the shaitan. What did the shaitan do? أخرج أبويكم من الجنة. يعني the shaitan, he did waswas to our father Adam alayhi salam in the very early days, and he was the cause of having our parents, Adam and Hawa, to get out of Jannah because they did not listen to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He forbid them to eat from that specific tree, but they ate from the tree that was forbidden. When they did that small sin, it was just an obedience test. Don't eat from this tree. And the shaitan cooked waswas, which is this evil. He kept waswasa lahum ash-shaytan. Waswasa lahum ash-shaytan. He kept coming to them. Uqasimukuma inni min al-nasihin. He's telling our Adam and Eve that this tree that you were forbidden to eat from is shajaratul khuld. You will eat from it and you will never come out of Jannah. And it was the exact opposite. فَعَصَى آدَمَ رَبَّهُ. Adam did not listen to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they committed the sin of eating from the shajara. So the fight between us and the shaitan, and we cannot see him, right? And it's not something that you would see the shaitan, at least from al-jinn, around us, or you can. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the tools to defeat him, the tools to make him retreat, the tools to make him disappear from whispering to us. So the min sharri al-waswas al-khannas. So al-waswas is this whispers that happens. It happens in the sudur al-nas, and we'll come to it in the next ayah. But the importance is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala immediately said that he has evil, this shaitan has evil, min sharri, evil, al-waswas, al-khannas. Al-khannas means somebody who retreats or disappears or retreat back. And so in the same description that this shaitan has evil, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and this shaitan is retreating. And how do we make him retreat? Is by saying, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. By saying, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, Rajim, you defeat him. Every time you have this whispers that happens in your heart or in your chest, whether it's thinking of bad thoughts or thinking about somebody of your friends' bad thoughts or anything that could happen, first start with A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim to defeat that evilness that might happen in your chest. And in the same ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described the evil and how to defeat him or how to make him retreat. But he doesn't give up. He comes back all the time. He comes back all the time. So how do you defeat him? Is dhikrillah. Every time you say La ilaha illallah, subhanallah, any of the adhkar that you learn, this is how you defeat him and you make him retreat away from you. Defeating إن كيد الشيطان كان ضعيفا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the evilness of the shaitan is weak. How is it weak? Is by the tools that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided to us, which is dhikrullah is the most important, and of course at-ta'awwud. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. وإما ينزغنك من الشيطان نزغ فاستعذ بالله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يقول وإما ينزغنك من الشيطان نزغ. If you feel any whispers from the shaitan, استعذ بالله. Before you commit anything, before you do anything, قل أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. At least to defeat that shaitan that is whispering to you. الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing to us the means of how the shaitan makes these whispers into the chests of people. So you feel it from inside you, from your core. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that it's not in the heart. Why? Because what's in the heart, al-iman, the faith is in your heart. The faith is always in your heart, which is what we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for. The faith is always in your heart, but you get this from your core, from your chest sometimes, some bad thoughts, some bad thinking or bad, whether it's thinking about bad things that could happen or thinking about the things that you're not supposed to think about or thinking about committing some sins. This is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ. You will feel it. You feel the waswas. This is the power that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to the jinn, gave to the shaitan to be able to deceive us and take us from the right path into many different paths. So the way to fight him is with the tools that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us. من الجنة والناس. So the waswas that could happen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying it could happen from two paths or two groups. One group is al-jinnah. Al-jinnah is al-jinn. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْإِنسَ وَالْجِنَّ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created al-ins and created al-jinn. And the jinn existed before us. We don't see them. إِنَّهُ يَرَاكُمْ هُوَ وَقَبِيلُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا تَرَوْنَهُ. The jinn, the shaitan, they can see us, they can do waswas, they can do whispers to us, but we can't see them. And we will never be able to see them. So this is the establishing the rule between us and the jinn. They are able to do that, whispering for us. And defeating them is easy with the tools that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us. Part of it is reading these three surahs, Al-Ikhlas, Al-Falaq, An-Nas, as we mentioned before. These are the tools that you use them to protect yourself, protect your family, protect your in the morning and the evening. You read these and inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect you. What's even sometimes is worse than the jinn is shayateen al-ins, min al-jinnati wal-nas. So there are some bad influence people. Now these people, you cannot defeat them by by saying أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, because they are your friends. They may be your friends, but they're not your friends. Maybe they're your colleagues, but they're not really looking for the good of you. They are the people who whispers in your ear and telling you to commit haram or commit sins or what this, doing this, how is it gonna affect you? It's okay to do this, it's okay to do that. And you know in your heart that these things are forbidden, these things are haram, and you're not supposed to do them. But the shaitan, this in the evilness in the people themselves who are around us, could be even more deceiving to us than the jinnah, and the jinnah that we don't see them. So how do you protect yourself from these people? Your true friend is the person who guides you to the right path, the person who helps you to get better, the person who, when you are with them, you feel tuma'nina, you feel in your heart that these are good people. They're looking for the good of me or my family. And this is the people that you want to surround yourselves with. These are the people that you want to be with them. And when you discover that somebody is probably trying to deceive you, maybe you can guide them, maybe you can give them advice. And if not, then stay away from them. Better not to have a relationship with somebody who is trying to guide you to the wrong path than to be close to some cool friends that could be taking you off your right path. Now I'm going to draw a little bit some comparisons in between this surah, which is, when you open the Mus'haf, when you open the Quran, what is the first surah? Al-Fatiha. And what's the last surah? An-Nas. So let's draw a little bit some comparisons between the two. In Al-Fatiha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. In this surah, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. Rabbil Alameen, Rabbil Nas. Draw some parallelism between the beauty of the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what we started with, even He finishes with. This is not an accident. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is driving these for us to think about when we recite these surahs. When you recite Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, what comes after that? Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawm al-Din. So He is the Malik of Yawm al-Din, of Yawm al-Qiyamah. And in Surah An-Nas, Malik al-Nas. The same word comes back again. Malik al-Nas. Then Ilah al-Nas. What does Ilah al-Nas requires? Iyaka na'bud wa iyaka nasta'in. Iyaka na'bud wa iyaka nasta'in. Who do you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help from? Is Allah. Who do you ask for isti'ana and support from? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you can draw these parallel lines between the beginning of the Quran and the ending of the Quran. SubhanAllah, this is what we can take from this surah. Nas'Allah, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you hopefully took something out of this and you understand some of the meanings of the surah. And remember what I mentioned in the previous class about Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Nas. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in the morning and in the afternoon, he recites these surahs. He blow hard in his hands, and he recite these surahs and wipe his face, his body with after reading these surahs to protect himself. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did that. Better for us as well to do these things in the morning and in the evening, inshallah. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, so Jazakallah khair, Brother Rad, for the detailed tafsir of Surah An-Nas. one thing I'm going to add to that is, who is the worst of all creations that we know of, or that we think there is from the information that we have? Who do you think is the worst of all the creations? Shaitan, right? Now, Shaitan, as Brother Rad was drawing that parallel between Surah An-Nas and Surah Fatiha, right? So Shaitan is the worst of all the creations. Now, what led him to do what he did? Arrogance, okay. What is arrogance?
That you're better than somebody else.
That you think you're better than somebody else. Right?
Your perception that you have superiority over someone.
You have superiority over somebody else, right? Superiority can be in many different ways, right? Can be how you appear physically, right? Somebody could be big and tall and white and broad, and that looks pretty, intimidating, right? If you have a smaller height, or somebody, you're looking at somebody, you have to look up top of the sky to actually look at the person, right? That could be pretty intimidating, right? Similarly, on the other hand, it could be somebody who is probably smarter than us, right? Mentally. Somebody who has that thought that I am superior and the other people are inferior because of the intellect that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him, right? So drawing that same parallel, one more parallel that I'm going to draw also out of Surah An-Nas is, so we talked about who's the worst of the creations. Who's the second worst? Fir'aun. You know why? Because in Surah An-Nas, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about three things. What are the three things? What's the first ayah? No, what's the first ayah? Birabbin Nas. Qul a'udhu birabbin Nas. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that He is the Rabb of everybody. Right? Birabbin Nas, Malikin Nas. Malik means king, owner, right? Malikin Nas, and then Ilahin Nas. Right? He is the Ilah. Fir'aun, in three different places in the Quran, he said the same three things. He said he was the Rabb. Then he also said he was the Malik of the people of Egypt who were living there, right? And then he also said he was the Ilah, which is the ultimate, like owner of everything else, right? So that is why he is considered the second worst of all the creations, because he tried to say the same things for himself that Allah is saying for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So he was trying to equate himself, na'udhu billah, in the place of Allah, right? So the reason why I'm emphasizing that is because the worst of all the creations, Shaitan, was thrown out because of arrogance. As we go around and do what we do on a daily basis, you folks go to school, you are going to your soccer games, you are going to your other games that you're playing, right? There is arrogance that can develop. Some of you may be very good at soccer, for example, right? Some of you may be very good at basketball, right? If you have that superiority, that the other people are inferior to you in one way or the other, that is stepping towards arrogance, right? Because what the Shaitan, the whispering that he is doing is what? He is causing you to doubt, the other people who might be doing good, but he comes and whispers to you, did you think about why did your friend do this and that? Or why did the other person say such and such, right? And he places that doubt in your mind, which creates that negative feeling that will allow you to distance from the people who are around you. So one thing to be very, very mindful of is the feeling of arrogance, right? In whatever you do. One thing that will always help you be successful in life is humility. That's the opposite of arrogance, right? Be humble in what you have, be humble in what you do, and be humble in what you can afford. Some of you people sitting here, right, probably can afford a whole lot more things than people who are around you. Even in our city here in Atlanta, if you go to downtown, there are people who are homeless. It's raining outside right now. They probably don't have a place to go. We should be thankful to Allah for giving us this dry place that you're sitting in. You don't have to be running around in rain trying to find a dry spot, right? So again, we need to be remembering all some of these things as we think about some of these verses and the lessons that we can draw, inshallah. Okay, Jazakumullah khair. So